Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer. We're back in action with another online replay, with myself playing as the Beastmen, and I'm going to be facing up against the Greenskins. This is Gojira from yesterday's video. This is the second game we played, within a short span of time. So definitely in for a good time. And let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions. So I've deployed kind of up on this hill here. I've got Morghur the Shadowgave, of course, front line of Bestigor Herd, one of them being the Korok's Manrippers Regiment of Renown. We've got 4 Ungor Spearmen Herd to back things up, 1 Ungor Raider, and a Gobbo here to support the main line. We've also got over here 2 Centaurs with great weapons, which were actually guerrilla deployed right on top of some Goblin Wolf Riders. So both of us kind of had the same idea. These Wolf Riders are going to get put down in a big hurry. It is worth noting one of these is the Sons of Goros, a Centaur with great weapon. Over here for my opponent, a very good army composition in my opinion. He's got a main line of Savage Orcs, which are very good against the Beastmen, 1 Savage Orc Biggin on each flank, with 1 Black Orc in the rear for support, the Rusty Heirs for some armor sundering, 2 Goblin Spider Riders, along with 2 Orc Boar Boy Biggins, which is a very nice mobile force. Using these guys together is really good because the Forest Goblin Spider Riders will debuff the enemy's stats with their poison, allowing the Orc Boar Boy Biggins to trade much more cost effectively. The Hammer of Gork as well in here. Going to be throwing some rocks, so let's go ahead and kick things off. So we're going to be advancing up and trying to kind of form a pocket right along this line here, and just using these Centaurs with great weapons. We've shattered those Goblin Wolf Riders, so going to be pulling back into the forest. Go ahead and fast forward as the different forces advance here. You can see my opponent, I did fail to mention, is led by the one and only Azhag the Slaughterer himself, which is definitely one of my favorite lords overall in the game. Just really cool thematically and very, very powerful both in multiplayer, and it takes a while to get him good in campaign, but once you get him good, he's very, very good. So, yep, just advancing across the line here, you can see that Hammer of Gork doing some nice damage to these Bestigor Herd and actually debuffing their stats, because the Hammer of Gork actually has this this little ability here on its missile, which is called Blinded. So minus 34 attack, or excuse me, minus 36 attack, 34 defense, and 40% accuracy. So it will definitely negate the combat stats for these Bestigor Herd, and as they charge in here, they'll get kind of torn to shreds by these Savage Orcs. Over here, getting caught on the back hoof by these Goblin Spider Riders. That's very unfortunate. Azhag thinking about coming down to challenge Gobbo, but deciding that's probably not a good idea, and he's very much right. We're kicking off this mainline fight here, getting these Korok's Manrippers and the other Bestigor Herd into the Savage Orcs. And the Savage Orcs will have a pretty tough time because of the high armor of the Bestigor Herd. However, the Bestigor Herd only have 20 melee attacks, or excuse me, 20 melee defense, so they will take damage over time there. You can see very nice devolve going off here. It's going to be tearing away at the leadership and the health of these Savage Orcs. Just continuing to engage across the line here. This Bray Shaman is just kind of chilling back here. We've got some spears on this flank for support, and bringing some more spears around here to this kind of pitched cav battle, which is so far going very much in my opponent's favor, because he was able to get the charge off with those Spider Riders. You can see they're routed off here, but they did prevent the Centaurs from getting a proper charge, which they very much rely on, and they're going to be having a really rough time in here. Gobbo is in here to support, doing some great anti-large armor piercing, but he's going to have a hard time chopping through this much mass here. You can see Azhag diving in on Morghur, trying to take him down as quickly as possible to keep him from summoning Chaos Spawn. That's a very, very good play. Chaos Spawn summons are very, very strong. You can see taking quite a bit of damage already, down to about 30% HP. Very nice devolve going off in the back there, or excuse me, Vile Tide, which is going to keep my troops fresh. You can see these Bestigor Herd are fresh, whereas the Savage Orcs are already starting to get winded to a degree. So that's very good for me. Over here, just continuing to fight out. I'm not able to pull away my Sons of Goros effectively because these Spider Riders are just continuing to poison them. Otherwise, I could have probably pulled them back and gotten a nice cycle charge. However, we did deal with most of the Boar Biggins, so they're back here, but they are going to be rallying, and unfortunately we did not shatter them completely, so that is a bit unfortunate. You can see now this Goblin Spider Rider doing a very good job getting back on this Bray Shaman, trying to assassinate him. This other Goblin Big Boss doing a very good job tying up these Ungor Raiders, not allowing them to fire. You can see desperately trying to get off some last spells before this Bray Shaman gets killed. So we did get one more Vile Tide there, which was decent, but the Rusty Heirs are still online with about 50% of their HP. These Korok's Manrippers are very, very low, and just in general, my Bestigor are very low on HP. We have killed a great number of Savage Orcs, but it's just not enough at this point. You can see the Boars now returning to this fight on the flank over here, getting into the spears. Not exactly an ideal engagement, but Azhag comes down, and he is able to terror route off a lot of these troops. So these spearmen get terror routed, the Sons of Goros, and now these spearmen get terror routed. So very, very good engagement over on this flank, breaking up those spears. That's going to be very tough for me to deal with, because now this huge kind of goon squad is going to be crushing in on this flank, and because my forces are very low, it's going to be tough for me. We did get a Chaos Spawn summon off on those Rusty Airs, tying them down, which is very good. The Savage Orcs are starting to crumble, the Black Orcs as well crumbling here. Over on this flank, however, I'm losing as well. These Ungor Spearmen herd are not going to be able to stand up to Savage Orcs in any way, shape, or form. Over here, we did tie down this big boss with some spears. A little late, though. He was able to rout off the Bray Shaman, who has now rallied. He's going to be able to get a few spells off, but pretty unfortunate. Azhag is still very healthy at this point. Gorbel's getting, he's about 30% HP. Been able to do some good work, but just continually getting whittled down by Spider Riders and Orc Boar Biggins, so I brought him over here to try and support Morghur in this fight, but you can see the Bestigor herd are very low, now routing off both these units here. We did summon up some more Chaos Spawns, so that's going to keep the balance of power from tilting too far in my opponent's favor, but we are at a limited time now. As soon as these Chaos Spawn despawn, the balance of power is going to flip back in my opponent's favor, and so we very much have a limited amount of time to try and get this done here, and unfortunately Gorbel is just not able to get the work done. He's trying to push through to get on Azhag here, but not able to get through effectively, getting a Spirit Leech as well dropped on him, which is a very good play from Azhag. Over here, Azhag is pretty much putting the smack down pretty hard on Morghur. You can see the Chaos Spawn getting whittled down already. They are able to rout off a lot of these troops here, and with that devolve, it actually breaks the leadership of this almost this entire pocket here. In fact, all those troops are out except for Azhag, so that's very good for me. That Bray Shaman coming back was pretty clutch there, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to really capitalize on this break because I really don't have the unit models left, and Gorbel's very low, and that Goblin Big Boss actually gets in there and just sneakily assassinates him. So very, very good play with the Goblin Big Bosses there, taking down that Gorbel when he's very low, and now Morghur is left all alone in here with just a few Chaos Spawn fighting up against Azhag and all these greenskins, and it's going to be very, very rough now. The leadership of the Beastmen's looking very, very shaky, and it looks like it's starting to tilt in my opponent's favor slightly. The leadership of the greenskins is also very shaky as well, but a lot of their troops are starting to rally now, and as Morghur starts to take a lot of damage here from Azhag, it's going to be really, really rough. And you can see the spears here trying desperately to get into support, but it's just too little too late. And again, this Goblin Big Boss just getting back here, assassinating this Bray Shaman. Going to be very, very good for my opponent. And we did try and drop, I believe, yep, another Vile Tide there. But did some good damage, but it wasn't enough to rout off those Savage Orcs, unfortunately. If I had had the magic to do a devolve, it might have flipped things back in my favor, but at this point, it's looking pretty much like GG. I don't know if Morghur can tank all this out. If we'd been able to take Azhag down with the Gorbel, it would have been a completely different game, but very, very close fight right now. But it looks like things are starting to flip in my opponent's favor. He's going to get these Orc Boar Boy Biggins over on these Ungor Raiders, and that'll pretty much be game. Morghur's leadership is faltering, and the rest of these Ungors are not too happy, so they will rout. Well played to my opponent Gojira. Very fun game. I'll go ahead and have a link to his channel. He does have a small YouTube channel of his own, so very fun game. Thank you, sir. Well played, and I very much enjoyed that. Very good greenskin build versus the Beastmen, actually. This is similar to what I typically like to use. Azhag up on the Skull Muncher with Spirit Leech and some other useful spells. Savage Orcs as well, very good against the Beastmen, especially these Savage Orc Biggins. 146 kills and a Chevron there is very, very good stuff. The Black Orcs did decent. Rusty Airs didn't get a whole lot of kills, but they were useful definitely in centering the armor of the Bestigor and allowing the Savage Orcs to trade more effectively there. Wolf Rider Archers got killed right at the start, but that's okay. They're only about 300 resources. And this mobile squad, the Goblin Spider Rider is actually paying off very well there, catching me on the back hoof with these Centigors, and able to let these Orc Boar Boy Biggins get a much more favorable engagement than they otherwise would have been able to. The Hammer of Gork as well, doing that really nice debuff and really helping these Savage Orcs trade more effectively. And those big bosses, very, very nice play with the big bosses, assassinating the Bray Shaman, assassinating the Gorbel, very, very good stuff. Very aware, I should say, play, good situational awareness, and using those guys to sneak through small gaps and get to high-value targets. Very good stuff. I don't see big bosses used in that way very often, and it works. It definitely did some damage here. If I was able to keep that Bray Shaman in the fight, it may have gone differently. If I had a late-game devolve or two there to break up the leadership of the Greenskins, it definitely would have been a different game. But very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Sure enjoyed playing it. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm bringing the Total War Warhammer content every day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.